What's going on, everybody? Welcome on into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, I want to go over some winners and some losers following the Jets' 0-3 start to the regular season. Obviously, not ideal starting the season off 0-3, but there are some positives that I want to dive into on today's show. But the Jets, they are 0-3, and honestly, at bare minimum, they should be 1-2. Now, you should have won Week 1 versus Pittsburgh Steelers. You can probably say you had a chance to win against the Bucs in this past matchup on Sunday, but you blocked the field goal, returned it to the house. That doesn't end up happening. You obviously lose that game, but still, you're 0-3. So obviously, it does not look good. Playoff chances are very slim, but you look at the Jets' next 5 games, they got a chance to rip off a lot of wins. Now, Week 4 against the Dolphins in Miami on Monday night. This is a must-win game. If you want any hope to just give this fan base, some hope for the rest of the season, that's a definite must-win. But then you got the Cowboys. That's a winnable game. Then you're traveling across the pond to take on the Denver Broncos. You could win that one. Then the Panthers at home, and then on the road against the Bengals. The Jets got a chance to at least make this a 4-1 stretch, maybe a 3-2 stretch. But still, if you're 3-5 over your first 8 games, starting off 0-3, that's not that bad. But I'll ask you guys this: predict the record for the Jets over the next 5 games. I think they got a chance to go 4-1, but I'll play it safe and I'll go 3-2. But if you guys could, next 5 games for the Jets, predict what the record will be down below. All right, let's talk about some winners and losers so far from the Jets season. I got 5 winners and 3 losers, and we're going to start off with the positive here and talk about some winners. And number 1, first player we're going to talk about here is Will McDonald, edge rusher. Now, Will McDonald's impressed me a lot this season. Now, obviously, I think he is kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit with, he gets a lot of attention on every single play. Like, he is getting chipped, he's getting double teamed, and he is still being able to be somewhat productive. Now, obviously, why he's a winner, I think, mainly is because the blocked field goal he had yesterday. It was an unreal, freaky athletic play, ended up taking it to the house, but he's been solid. Now, he's got 7 pressures on the year, has gotten home to the quarterback 2 times, has a pass rush grade of 67.1, and I think still his best football is yet to come this season. I think Will McDonald just building off what he started during the first couple of years of his career, and now he's just going to continue to stack good games. But I could really see him hitting his stride probably over the next 5 games, or maybe we look up and it's like, oh, Will McDonald has 6 sacks over this past 5 games. I think he's got that type of potential, so he's really impressed me. And then also Garrett Wilson, kind of in the same bucket as Will McDonald, as just 2 guys that are getting so much attention on every single play. Like, Garrett Wilson has 4 to 6 eyeballs on him every single time he's running a route. But I will say he has been very productive this season. Even with getting all the attention, he was still able to get up to 229 yards on the year, has a passer rating of 111.3 when either Tyrod or Justin Fields is looking his way, and he's brought in 21 of his 27 targets, only has 1 drop. He's got a PFF grade of 76.3, which is number 8 in the entire National Football League. So clearly we knew this guy was a 1. Hopefully the Jets get more consistent passing the football, and this guy could put up, potentially a 1,100-yard season, but he's really impressed me. And then another blue chipper on the team, Quinnen Williams. Can't say enough about this guy. Now, I'm not trying to say that he was on the hot seat heading into the year, but we all expected him to get back to being one of the best all-pro defensive tackles in the league, and I think he's gotten back to that spot. And, Quinnen is just a fantastic football player. He dominates the interior. He's great at stopping the run. He's great at getting home to the passer. And, for a guy in the interior of your defensive line, having 10 pressures this year is really special stuff. Having 4 tackles for loss, a PFF grade of 79.7, a run defense grade of 91.1. He's really been, the biggest positive defensively. I mean, clearly, he is your best player on that defense, and he's been playing like it. So shout out to Quinnen Williams. Also has been playing majority of snaps, 135. So shout out to him. Then you also got Armand Membou here, right tackle, 7th overall pick. He has been flat out amazing. And I think the Jets, you got your bookend right tackle of the future. There's no doubt in my mind. And this guy has played 180 snaps this season and has only allowed 4 pressures. That's incredible stuff. Obviously blanketed TJ Watt in week 1. Now, he has had a couple of rough games, or not rough games, but not up to the standard of week 1, which he set, but still very solid. 74.3 overall grade, 1 sack allowed, very solid in the run blocking department as well. Now, I do think he does a better job against just pure bull rushing style of edges. He's going to need to improve his game going against more of those finesse guys, but once he gets his hands on you, it's over. Like, as a 21-year-old guy, he's got some grown man strength, and I can't wait to see what he's going to develop over the next couple of seasons. But another guy on the defensive line, a player who the Jets traded for right before the start of the season, Juwan Briggs has been absolutely fantastic. Really been one of the one of the more unsung heroes of this defense to start the year, and he's graded out incredibly well. He's been fantastic next to Quinnen and Harrison Phillips on that interior of the defensive line. But an overall PFF grade of 79.5, solid against the run, solid at getting home to the quarterback, and he has a missed tackle percentage of 0 in 77 snaps. So he has been amazing. Now, I do want to talk about Sauce Gardner here because if this was after week 1, he would have been a for sure winner on our list. But after the last 2 weeks, he just hasn't played good enough football. And he's just been way too inconsistent this season. Now, obviously, you're going against Mike Evans yesterday from most of that game until he left with an injury, but it just wasn't good for Sauce. I mean, he had an overall PFF grade of 36.4, a coverage grade of 30.2. But if you saw after week 1, like, he was fantastic. He was one of the best cornerbacks in the league that week. But then over the last 2, hasn't been playing too good enough football, and that's why his PFF grades sit at where they are, 67.5, 65.8 in coverage. If that holds for the rest of the season, that would be his lowest in both those categories in his career. So I'm assuming Sauce will bounce back. He's got some favorable matchups over the next 5 weeks, but still, you just need more out of him. Although the Blue Chippers defensively are at least playing up to that level. So Sauce Gardner getting that big contract, going to have to play a little bit better or just play more consistent football because this past week was not good enough. Clearly did not play too well. But I'll ask you guys this. Grade Sauce Gardner so far this season. Give me an A, B, C, D, or F down below in the comment section. How are you feeling? If I had to give it, I'd probably go C+, B-, right around there. Just in the middle, but hey, we got high expectations for the guy, and he hasn't really been living up to them. So you guys let me know your thoughts on Sauce Gardner down below. Now we'll get the 3 losers here. Did not include guys like Tony Adams, who was out with an injury, but had to include the other terrible member of the Jets secondary, and that being Brandon Stephens. Brandon Stephens, I got to assume his time is coming to an end. Especially with A.Z. Thomas playing good football yesterday, I can't imagine Aaron Glenn is going to continue to roll this guy out. I mean, he's played in over 200 snaps already. He's playing almost every defensive play, and he's just been flat out terrible. He's already allowed 3 touchdowns, over 104 yards in 3 games. He just hasn't been good enough. And I almost wonder with Brandon Stephens being such a liability at that CB2 spot, if that's even affecting or impacting Sauce Gardner's play. Like, clearly it might be when you have such a liability on the other side of the field. You are really asking Sauce to go one-on-one, almost every single snap, and you just need more out of Brandon Stephens. So I'm assuming Glenn will maybe give him one more half against the Miami Dolphins, but if he doesn't play well again, I fully expect A.Z. Thomas to be in there for the majority of the season. Also, A.Z. played pretty damn good football yesterday, but probably the biggest loser so far for the Jets season, Micheal Clemons. Micheal Clemons is one of the worst football players in the league. He obviously had that bonehead penalty in week 2 against the Buffalo Bills, 3rd and 19. Jets are finally about to get a stop. And Micheal Clemons has an idiotic penalty, roughing the passer, gave the Bills a free set of downs and a free 15 yards. But listen to this. This is coming from Michael Nania. Shout out to him. He tweeted out, Micheal Clemons has played 110 defensive snaps this season. He has twice as many penalties as he does pressures. He has 1 pressure and twice as many missed tackles as solo tackles. 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits, and the Jets allow 5.5 yards per carry with him on versus 2.7 with him off. And I agree with him. He possibly might be the worst player in the NFL. I don't understand why Aaron Glenn continues to go to this guy. He can't set the edge. He can't get home to the quarterback. He just makes bonehead penalties. He is by far the biggest net negative out there on the football field. But also, it's not like the Jets have a lot of depth at edge. Like, there's really nobody else to go to. You could say a guy like Braiden McGregor, but Braiden McGregor's been almost just as bad. That's why he's our 3rd loser on this list. Like, besides Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson, the Jets just have nobody at that edge spot. And that's why it's been incredibly concerning so far this season, because you do have some studs defensively, but there's just issues behind them. And McGregor's been horrible this season. 2 pressures in 71 snaps. So McGregor and Micheal Clemons have combined for 3 pressures. And then he's even worse against the run, according to PFF, compared to Clemons. PFF grade of 38.7, a tackling grade of 28.2. He just has not been good enough. So I think overall, the number one takeaway so far from the 0-3 start is that the Jets just have a clear depth issue defensively. And you could also make the argument offensively, but clearly on the defensive side of the football. Like Quinnen Williams is having a really good year. I liked what I've seen from Will McDonald. Sauce Gardner has been up and down, but at least he's still playing good enough football. But the edge group specifically, there is no depth at that spot behind Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald. Micheal Clemons is terrible. Braiden McGregor is terrible. So I fully expect the Jets to address this upcoming offseason. Maybe they try to hit on a couple of more draft picks. They add in some more free agents, but you got to add more depth to this defense because the blue chippers are kind of playing like blue chippers, but the other guys have been so bad that it just takes the total of this Jets defense to a negative, and also just the boneheaded plays. It's just all been, a perfect storm for why the Jets defense has struggled a lot to start this season. But you got to add more depth. That's probably priority number one this offseason. But I'll ask you guys this. Name your biggest winner or loser so far from the season. I'm probably going Micheal Clemons. Is the biggest loser by far. And for the biggest winner, I'll probably go Membou. I think Membou would be my answer for that one. But you guys let me know. Name your biggest winner or loser so far from the season. And we'll see you guys next time. As always, go Jets.